How's everybody today? Good. Well, first off, I'd like to wish everybody here, all of our fans and supporters and friends out there who we don't have an opportunity to see at this time of the year, very happy holiday season. This is probably the last time I'll have any opportunity to express that. I think this is a joyous time for your family, and I hope everybody has a great holiday season. Practice has gone fairly well. Today the players had really good intensity, mental focus, and for the most part we have done a pretty good job in that regard. Yesterday was a little bit sloppy, but I think when you practice 7 days in a row, and the reason we do that is we want to condense the time that the players are here so they have a little bit more time off to be at home, to spend with their families for Christmas, as well as maybe the time over break. So, but they kind of get that, they understand that, they understand why we do what we do, and they've responded very well. You know, we have a high standard of expectations here for how we want to do things to try to be the best that we can be, and every player's got to understand that, and understand that your destiny and your future lies in what you're willing to put into and the choices and decisions you're willing to make, you know, moving forward from this time on. And you know, some people can do that, some people can't, and it'll be interesting to see how our guys do it and how we can get them to do it. And I think that'll be a real key to how well we play in a game against a very, very good team. Every time I stand up here, I try to convince everybody what a great team Washington has, and they are a very, very, very good football team on both sides of the ball, and special teams are very well coached. They've got good schemes, they've got good players, so this is going to be a real tough game for us. This is by far the best team we played against all year long. You know, tomorrow we move practice up, and that's strictly so the players have more travel time to get home, so they can extend their vacation time a little bit and spend several days home with their family for Christmas. From an injury standpoint, everybody was back at practice today, so you know, Keith Holcomb practiced today, Cam Robinson practiced today, so that was, we got some guys that are nicked up, but nobody that couldn't go out there and practice and get their turns.
Start on the left, Rainer.
How has the importance of the slot cornerback position changed over the years, and especially with the proliferation of spread offenses, and how was that position viewed maybe before the advent of these spread offenses?
I don't. The star position. Well, I think that the star position has transitioned to an every down position. I think I remember the time, maybe when I was back at the Cleveland Browns, which I don't know, maybe it's longer than maybe I want to remember it to be, but where that was really kind of a guy that's played specialty down, probably third down and 2 minute. And it wasn't that you really played maybe one team like the Houston Oilers were a run and shoot team, so you would play nickel or dime almost the whole game. So you were looking for a guy that was a good cover guy and really could get you off the field on third down. But now I think with most people running this style of offense, and probably 80% of our snaps are played in nickel. And I'm talking about first and second down snaps now, not just third down snaps. So that guy has to be a much more complete player. He's got to be a bigger guy. He's got to be a good tackler. He's got to be a good cover guy. So he's got to have some corner attributes because he's going to cover a receiver in the slot. But he's also got to be a guy that has some safety type attributes, that's big and physical and can play the run, set the edge for you sometimes, and be a really good tackler, because really his position is an outside linebacker for all practical purposes. I mean, we call him star because if you put our defense up, the Sam would be doing the same thing as the star. There's just some things Sam you would never ask to do on a wide receiver. So that's why the position's named star. So it has changed quite dramatically in the last, 10, 15 years.
Second, here to the right. Mark?
Yeah, I just want to ask you what you've seen on film from Washington quarterback Jake Browning, and what kind of athlete is he in terms of playing with his legs?
Well, he's a really good athlete. He's got quickness. He's got pocket presence. He extends a lot of plays. He can run. He's athletic enough to run. And, you know, this guy is a really, really good player. He's accurate throwing the ball. Gets the ball out of his hand quickly. And does a really good job of executing their offense. So this will be one of the best quarterbacks we played against all year.
Back over here there.
I know you've been busy. I don't know if you've seen, you get 6 former players elected to the Pro Bowl. Just wondered your thoughts on that.
Oh, I think it's great. I really didn't see it. So, I mean, not that I don't think what you guys do is important, but I just don't have a lot of time to read the paper this time. I don't do the internet, as you well know, and I don't watch TV much. So who are they? I'd like to know. I feel great.
Julio, Dante, CJ, Landon, and Tom.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm so happy that, you know, we try to do a good job of helping our players develop here so they're more ready to play in the league. And we've had some awfully good players. Every one of those guys are really, really good players. And I'm really excited for them and their families. They did a fantastic job here for us. And to see them get recognized now in the league as one of the top players, you know, is, I think, fantastic for them. And I'm really proud of them and really happy for them.
Back over here with John Zener.
You've obviously had some freshmen come in and earn playing time, earn starting spots and everything. Is there a common denominator from some of those guys that kind of separates them, makes them, maybe it's maturity, whatever, that kind of makes them ready to play?
Well, I think you probably hit it right there. I think some guys are more ready to play than others. I think some positions are easier to play than others. Probably the offensive line being the most difficult, and Cam Robinson, and then Jonah this year being able to play that position at tackle is, you know, speaks volumes for sort of the maturity that they had to be able to be responsible to do their job. I think the biggest thing that incoming players have to understand is the guys that can focus on development and really have it in their mind that they have to learn and grow to be able to be college football players are the guys that come in with the right mindset so that they can transition into being a college football player. I think the guys that, you know, kind of think that they're just going to come right in and because they've been good and had success that that's just naturally going to happen for them. I think those guys struggle a little bit because they're not really focused on what they need to do to be a complete player at their position, and I think that's really the key for a guy being able to play early as a college player. Now, is that maturity? I mean, I guess we could call it a lot of things, but I guess what I would say is mature competitors usually understand what they have to do to be able to go play well, and they're willing to put the time and the work in to get there. So maybe it's not maturity as a person as much as it is maturity as a competitor.
Back over here to Tony.
What would you say to a player that asked you to sit out the bowl game to protect his NFL career in the future?
Well, I mean, I don't answer hypothetical questions, so, you know, you're asking me a hypothetical question, but I will say this. I think when we created the playoff, which all you wanted to do, and all you wanted to make it 4 teams, and now all you want to make it 8 teams, and then pretty soon all you guys are going to want to make it 16 teams. And the only focus is on the playoffs. But when we all started this, however many years ago it was, I said that you're going to diminish the importance of other bowl games in college football, which has happened. That has happened. All anybody talks about is the playoffs. We have a whole bunch of other bowl games that, you know, people don't think are all that important. So if you don't think it's important, all of a sudden some players don't think it's important. So you can't really blame the players. You know, I mean, we created this, okay? We created this. It used to be to go to the Rose Bowl was like when you played in the Big Ten, that was the ultimate of any experience that you could ever have. If you played in the SEC, going to the Sugar Bowl was that same thing. If you played in the Big 12, it was going to the Orange Bowl. All right, so those things don't exist anymore. All right, we have a playoff. Everybody's interested in the playoff. Nobody's interested in anything else. So now that that's trickled down to players, how can you blame the players for that? All right, I can't blame the players for that. I think what every player has to decide, and what I would say to every player, is I think every player probably benefits from playing really, really well. All right, so I think when you play in big games and you play really, really well, I think that enhances your value as a player. That's what I think. All right, now, every player would have to make the decision between, is that more important relative to protecting yourself? I think that's every player's choice, and that's every player's decision, and I don't know that there's much more to say about it than that.
Come back over here, same side with Ken. Left side.
What's an area or two that Josh Jacobs particularly improved throughout the course of the season, and how important was that improvement given, you know, several backs got dinged up a little bit?
Well, I think it was really important for us. You know, we didn't have a lot of depth at the running back position, so we actually had two freshmen. One of them got hurt during the course of the season, but Josh got playing time early. He took advantage of it, and you know, has had a role at that position that has been critical to the success of our offensive team. And there were times when Bo was hurt, so you know that he needed to play, and he played well for us. So there was times when Damian Harris was hurt, and Bo could play. So we've been kind of, you know, running back by committee all year, and he certainly made a significant contribution to that. And hopefully we'll have all three of those guys healthy for this game.
Two more, Michael, and then out.
When you play in a team like Washington where you don't have many common opponents and they're kind of on a separate coast, does it make it more difficult with the preparation, the game film, and that aspect of it?
Well, I think the film is the film. I think anytime you play a team, you develop sort of a history of what they like to do, and you sort of have that knowledge and experience, and so do the players. And I think when you play somebody that's not a common opponent, that you've never played before, the film is the film. So there's a lot more research that you do, but there's a lot more to learn, because you're not starting from, okay, we played these guys every other year for the last 10 years. We kind of know what they like to do. There's none of that. So you're kind of teaching the players from scratch, and you're kind of learning it from scratch. And I think when you have extra time, when you play in these kind of games, when you play opponents that you haven't played before, that's probably helpful to the players.
Wrap up here with Alex.
Just kind of quickly, we saw our Darius out there working a little bit with the quarterbacks. Can you kind of explain, is there any reason with that? And
Working with the who?
he was throwing passes and, you know.
Well, he used to be a quarterback. He didn't. He was. There is no reason for that. I mean, he's got a pulled muscle, and he's limited in practice. So I don't know of any reason for it. And if we had a reason for it, do you think I would tell you? I mean, where do you guys come up with this? I'm doing everything I can not to say bad words on the holiday season.
And I did want to ask you about Washington's secondary. What's your take on kind of?
Well, they're really good. They do a great job of. They break on the ball. They're ball hawking. They have lots of interceptions, which I think always tells you guys have good ball judgment, good ball skills, and people can break on the ball, and they do a really good job of that. They play a lot of middle of the field close type coverages, and their guys do a really good job of executing, kind of Seattle Seahawk-like, very similar to the way they play in the secondary, and their guys break on the ball and do a really good job.
Thanks, Coach.